And now you have a surplus thanks to who? Huh. Your super mayor, your supervisor, Tiffany A. Henyard, the people supervisor. So won't you talk about my accolades in my business degree and all the other accolades that I pose here as a supervisor?
Board is hurting people. They're hurting our residents. I don't care if you don't like me, don't like somebody on this board. It does not matter. What matters is you come here and you take care of your responsibility and take care of the business here at the town.
Tiffany Henyard's tenure as a leader in Thornton Township and the village of Dalton has descended into a chaotic spectacle, leaving a trail of dysfunction and frustration in its wake. Her inability to take responsibility for her actions has become glaringly evident, symbolizing the deeper issues plaguing her administration. Critics argue that Henyard's leadership style reflects a pattern of recklessness and self-interest, with catastrophic consequences for the communities she was elected to serve. Observers have likened Henyard's behavior to that of a cornered animal, lashing out in desperation as her power and influence erode. This comparison is vividly illustrated by a metaphor involving a large raccoon trapped and agitated, representing Henyard's flailing attempts to maintain control. Her tactics, described by some as erratic and unprofessional, have turned governance into a spectacle of chaos, undermining the trust and functionality of local institutions. In Thornton Township, Henyard's actions have reached a breaking point. Residents face unprecedented challenges, with basic township functions grinding to a halt under her leadership. Access to municipal buildings has been restricted, effectively holding the town hostage. One of the most alarming crises involves the township's insurance policy, a fundamental necessity for any functioning government. According to Chris Gonzalez, a critic of Henyard, the township has never faced such issues with insurance in the past. Typically, insurance is renewed automatically without contention. Yet, under Henyard, this essential process has been neglected, leaving the township exposed to significant financial and legal risks. The implications of this insurance lapse are dire. Without coverage, the township is vulnerable to lawsuits and liability claims. For example, if someone suffers an injury on township property, the financial burden would fall squarely on the taxpayers. This negligence not only damages the township's reputation, but also raises alarms within the insurance industry, making future coverage more difficult and expensive to secure. Adding to the crisis, township buses continue to operate without insurance, creating a ticking time bomb. If an accident were to occur, the legal and financial fallout could be catastrophic. Comparisons have been drawn to states like Maryland, where driving without insurance results in immediate consequences such as vehicle impoundment and legal penalties. Yet in Thornton, this risk is being ignored entirely. The human toll of Henyard's governance is equally distressing. Residents struggling to access vital township services are left in precarious situations. One woman, for example, is facing a severe hardship in the dead of winter, unable to fix her electricity problems or cook for her family. Such stories illustrate the real-world consequences of a leader more focused on consolidating power than addressing the needs of her constituents. Critics have called for Henyard's remaining supporters to take a hard look at the damage she has caused. Her willingness to let the township deteriorate, refusing to address the insurance crisis, shutting down access to public buildings, and neglecting basic responsibilities, underscores a troubling reality. She appears more concerned with clinging to power than fulfilling her duties. The consequences of her leadership extend beyond reputational damage. They represent a tangible threat to the financial stability and well-being of Thornton Township and its residents. In summary, Tiffany Henyard's leadership has plunged Thornton Township and Dalton into disarray. From the insurance debacle to the denial of essential services, her administration has been marked by negligence and mismanagement. As public outcry grows, the communities under her purview are left to grapple with the fallout. Whether through legal intervention or electoral defeat, many believe it's only a matter of time before Henyard's tenure comes to an end. However, the lasting impact of her decisions will likely be felt long after her departure. For the residents of Thornton and Dalton, the message is clear. It's time to prioritize accountability and leadership that truly serves the people.
Main building was locked. No one was answering the main phone lines, and some services that are offered there are for electric and heating for low-income homes. We spoke to Henyard spokespeople today and trustees who are calling it a ploy.
We come here for help and the doors are locked? What's going on? What do we do? What do we have to do?
Darlene Lewis was one of many Thornton Township residents who tried to get services at the main township building Wednesday, only to find it locked.
I'm going to be in the dark. My apartment is electric. I can't cook.
She risks losing electric services. Supervisor Henyard warned of a government shutdown the night before. So is there a government shutdown, and that is why the building is closed?
Well, we were advised by the attorneys to close the building. The building shouldn't be open. The risk is great.
According to Henyard's assistant Keith Price, the risk is that they didn't renew their insurance. He says it's because two trustees, Chris Gonzalez and Carmen Carlisle, have boycotted the past few weeks of meetings.
They played Russian roulette with the insurance.
But trustee Gonzalez tells NBC5 they've never voted on insurance in the past and says Henyard could have just signed off on it. But now the insurance company chose to not renew the township.
I'm thinking it's just a ploy, so we can't have a meeting, at the township building.
Gonzalez said they are open to conducting necessary township business like paying bills, setting a tax levy, and discussing new insurance, but have boycotted recent meetings, saying Henyard is trying to use them to appoint her choosing of a new trustee to fill a vacancy. They want to stall that appointment, which could be a tie-breaking vote for future business, citing scrutiny of Henyard's past spending.
If she gets somebody seated in that seat where she has another vote, we're going right back to all that.
Instead, they want voters to elect who they want as trustee instead.
To me, it was...
Tiffany Henyard, the embattled mayor of Thornton Township and Village of Dalton, has been a controversial figure for some time now, but recent developments have taken her struggles to new heights. Critics argue that her actions are detrimental to the town and its taxpayers. Her leadership style, often described as erratic and self-serving, has alienated many of her supporters. Those still loyal to her, whether due to promises of community perks like bingo nights or giveaways, are urged to reconsider. As her critics claim, Henyard's actions reveal a willingness to discard even her staunchest allies if it suits her agenda. One of the most significant blows to Henyard's authority came from Cook County Judge Thaddeus Wilson, who has firmly intervened to curb what many perceive as her abuse of power. Judge Wilson permanently blocked Henyard from appointing individuals to key village positions, police chief, administrator, and attorney, after she attempted to bypass the village board of trustees in these decisions. According to Wilson's ruling, Henyard's actions disregarded the fundamental principles of governance, treating the village like her personal domain rather than respecting the checks and balances in place. This marks the end of her attempt to install Ronnie Burge as police chief, Michael Smith as village administrator, and Angela Lockett as village attorney. The controversy surrounding these appointments was emblematic of Henyard's tenure. For instance, Ronnie Burge, whom Henyard had pushed for the police chief role, was deemed unqualified to serve as a law enforcement officer under Illinois law. Despite this, Burge was allowed to temporarily act as police chief, walking around in uniform until Judge Wilson put an end to it. Similarly, Michael Smith and Angela Lockett's appointments have now been permanently blocked. Critics have questioned why someone like Lockett, who reportedly holds a law degree, would involve herself in what they view as Henyard's chaos-ridden administration. The court's decision ensures that Henyard cannot make unilateral appointments to these positions without the approval of the Village Board of Trustees, a process that should have been followed from the outset. This legal setback adds to a growing list of challenges for Henyard. Her tenure has been marred by accusations of poor leadership and an inability to collaborate with the village board, a co-equal branch of government. Critics have accused her of acting more like a dictator than a mayor, ignoring the fundamental principles of governance and democratic accountability. Judge Wilson's ruling is a significant affirmation of the board's authority and a rebuke to Henyard's overreach. As Dalton and Thornton Township prepare for the coming months, it seems Henyard's political career is nearing its end. Many predict her removal from office by the first quarter of 2025, a development that some are calling a long-overdue gift for the community. However, her troubles may not end with her departure from office. Speculation is mounting about potential federal indictments that could arise once she loses the resources and influence associated with her position. Without access to a high-powered legal defense team, Henyard could face serious consequences. Critics point out that her alliances, such as with legal advisor Max Solomon, are unlikely to provide the support she might need in the face of federal scrutiny. For now, the community of Dalton seems ready to move forward, leaving behind what some have dubbed the Henyard era. Whether her legal and political troubles will continue to unfold remains to be seen, but her tenure will likely serve as a cautionary tale about the importance of accountability and ethical leadership in public office.